The Garmin GTN650 has changed the game of GPS navigation since its release in 2011. It's proven to be an accurate, reliable, and cost-effective addition to many aircraft in its 11 years of service. I've used the Garmin GTN650 as my primary GPS navigation device for 3 years, and this video will walk you through how to effectively utilize the system. So this video will be especially helpful for those who either have a GTN650 or are planning on installing one in their airplane, but it'll also be valuable to people that just want to learn more about the Garmin systems. For this video, I will be using the GTN app on my iPad mini. It's free to download for the iPad and the iPad mini, and Garmin has many other apps that cover all sorts of other GPS systems, and it's a great way to practice on your GPS skills and simulate some flights. As you can see here, I have the GTN650 pulled up. It looks exactly as it does in the airplane. So I can go ahead and hit my startup screen. Let's see, let's put this on 72 because that's how much the Dakota holds. And here we are at our home menu, which is what it looks like when you start. So I can go to the map and you can see that I am at Bolivar, my home airport. Like I'm on the ground, 0 feet of altitude, and 0 knots on my airspeed. So this is the primary interface of the GTN650, and we'll start off by doing frequency changes. So you can see my frequencies are, say, from my last flight. I have Bolivar Unicom in the active comm and guard as my standby communications, which is typical for me when I'm flying. So if I want to change that frequency, I can click on this one right here and say we're fixing to go to Springfield. So I'll put in Springfield ATIS frequency, and there it is. So now it's ready to go. I can go ahead and I would be doing all of this on the ground. I would be getting my frequencies on standby, and I would be getting my trip planned. So we'll go to Springfield, Missouri, Springfield Branson Airport. So I'd load it up. I would hit activate. There's my magenta line. And I would say that we are just about ready for takeoff. We have our VFR squawk code in there. So I'll go ahead and bump up the airspeed. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and fly at 3,000 feet down there. How's that? And this is a particularly fast Dakota, so we'll do 140 knots. We'll give her the benefit of the doubt. So if you need to cover your nav frequencies, you can do that here by pushing the bottom right dial. So that cycles between the two. Same thing for switching and typing in your frequencies. You can also do your squawk code here if you have your GTN650 synced up with a transponder. I don't use it. I find it easier to push the buttons on the transponder itself, but it's there if you need it. So here on the home screen, we have all of the available interfaces for this GPS. So you just saw the map function, and that's just, the basic map pretty much. The traffic feature is very nice. You can see the demo unit has traffic programmed in here. And I actually have 2 650s in the aircraft that I fly. So I'll keep my map on the top and my traffic on the lower one, just so I always have a good understanding of what's around me. You can even click on the traffic and it'll give you different statistics about them, like their tail number, the closure rate, their track, and their ground speed. So you can do that for all sorts of other aircraft. You have a terrain map, which is here. So I believe if I descend, it's doing a slow descent, but these towers would be yellow or red based off of my altitude and my danger of hitting them, which is pretty nice. I also have a weather screen here. So whether you have SiriusXM Connect or ADS-B weather, that's fine. I'm not sure what the storm scope feature is. I've never used that. Interesting. But say FSB weather, that's what I use. So I can zoom out. No weather in the area, but you see there is weather here on the Gulf and on the East Coast. So that's kind of a cool map. Lets you just get a brief overview of the weather in the area. I really like this default nav feature as well. So all of these fields are customizable, and this is how I have mine configured in the airplane. So to customize them, you can go to menu and hit configure user fields, and that lets you select all of the fields there. So I have my distance from my next waypoint, my desired track, and my track next to each other. I realized that was off. I need that on, well, this is like autopilot mode. Anyway, so I have my desired track and my track right next to each other. So if I'm hand flying, and this is a great time to talk about the traffic feature. So it monitors your traffic. If you're coming in with close proximity, it'll bring that up and let you know. But I have my ground speed, my active waypoint, and my ETE all right here. And this on the lower section has your magenta line on it and your proximity to it. You can see that we're a few miles off to the side because I forgot to put it on autopilot mode for say. But the default nav is especially handy. You have your CDI for swapping between GPS navigation and VOR and ILS navigation. And you have an OBS course preset right here as well. Moving on, we can go to the flight plan. So you can see I have Springfield programmed in right now. That's that. But you can go through and add waypoints and develop your flight plan in the app or in the GPS. I don't use it. I do all my flight planning in the Garmin Pilot app, which a tutorial for that will be coming soon. We have a procedures screen as well. So you can do your departure, your arrival, and your approach procedures. So for this approach, let's just go ahead and do a simple visual approach runway 14. That'll work. I can go ahead and load it. And when I'm ready to do the approach, I can come here and activate the approach. And that will disregard your current heading, more traffic, and it will go ahead and get you on that approach course. So that's especially handy for smaller airports when you're flying VFR. Say it doesn't have a VASI and it has a short runway. You can do that and get a little bit of vertical guidance to make sure you're on that 3-degree flight path. So we can go ahead and check our progress towards Springfield. We're 15 miles out, doing 140 knot ground speed. So that's looking nice. Let's go back to some of the other features. We have our nearest section, so you can click nearest and then airport. So if you have an emergency, you have all of these airports to choose from. You also have your different intersections, your VORs, NDBs, which nobody uses, and your user waypoints are here as well. I know I have like my house and our farm set up as user waypoints, so I can go to them. It's got airspaces, which is pretty cool. Not sure. This is kind of cool. I didn't know this was in here. Anyways, you also have flight service frequencies. So moving on, we can go to, let's see, waypoint info. So it'll pull up Springfield, and this is especially handy. So if you need just general information about it, there it is there. Your procedures, you can click in and that will take you, well shoot, now I just messed it up. Load that, okay. Where was I at? It's in the airport. We'll go in the airport a little more. We have our runways, so that's pretty cool. All your frequencies for the airport, which is especially nice. Speaking of that, I need to be getting my ATIS right now, and then I can go ahead and queue up tower. We have our preview of the airport, our weather data, so we can view the METARs, the TAFs, and our forecasts, which is pretty slick, and any NOTAMs for the airport as well. There are also services. You can get phone service and text messages and all that through the device. I don't use that, but I do use some of these utilities. This traffic is driving me insane. So you have a VNAV profile, and I can't figure out how to get this to work. It shows the same screen in my airplane, and I struggle. So if you guys know how to get that VNAV going, let me know. You also have some just trip planning, fuel planning fields as well. This one I use all of the time. So this will calculate your headwind component and your true airspeed. So say our calibrated airspeed, I don't even know. 125. Outside temperature, 12. Why not? These are all arbitrary. 2992 standard pressure. And I can hit compute data, and it'll pull up my component. So, hey, I have an 8 knot tailwind today. This is great. So you can also go through and update it if your weather changes. Super helpful. You also have a timer in here. You can run your checklists, and you can schedule some messages. So you can see we have a message popping up about airspace alerts. I also have a scheduled message for a reminder to switch tanks. So I have it set every either 30 or 45 minutes. That message pops up, tells me to switch my tanks. That's pretty helpful. And the system, I don't really use this. You can, if you want to look all technical, you can pull this up and act like you know what you're looking at, but I don't. So it's just got all sorts of stuff pretty much for the avionics guys. So you can see we're 8 miles out. We are, we should have been on approach a while ago. That would have been 2495. So you can see when you put the frequency in, it tells you, okay, you're on approach. So now we're on approach. We can be talking with them. Say they tell me to go to tower, 19.9. There's that. Oh, sorry. 1199. There's Springfield Tower. Now we're talking to tower. So say they clear me to land on runway 14. I can activate this visual approach, which will give me vertical and horizontal guidance to the runway on a VFR flight. So like I said earlier, this is especially helpful for short fields that don't have a VASI system. It just make sure that you're on a good glide path. I use it liberally. I love it. Let's see. I forgot to mention here, we have our dial, so we can... Whoa, I didn't know you could do that. That's pretty cool. So apparently you can hold that dial and it'll put you on guard and squawk for an emergency. So that's pretty cool. Don't go playing around with that. But that's awesome. I like that. But you can also adjust your volume, and you can push it to squelch. And I believe that just about summarizes the GTN650. It's a really cool system, and I don't know how to use all of it, but it treats me very well. And it's a very effective unit for both VFR and IFR flying. I don't personally have my instrument rating, but my dad flies IFR using it, tied with 2 G5s and a GFC 500 autopilot, and it works beautifully. I have a video on the GFC 500 autopilot that I'll throw a little thingy in the top right corner, so that way, if you guys want to watch it, you can do that. So you've reached the end of my tutorial video on how to use the GTN650. I hope it was helpful. I hope I could just help somebody learn a little bit more about this system. Granted, I'm not an expert in it. I don't know a whole lot about the instrument side of things, and I'm sure there's a whole lot of other features that I don't know how to use that could be very helpful to me. So this video is no substitute to formal instruction with a CFI, but I hoped it helped just a little bit to make you a little more confident in using this platform. Once again, I thank you guys for watching, especially if you made it this far into the video, and we'll catch you next time.